Hello everybody, welcome to Asura Psych. I'm Asura, and today we're going to be talking about why appearances matter to the INTJ and INFJ personality types. You would think that INTJs and INFJs with repressed extroverted sensing wouldn't pay much attention to their appearances, but this is actually not the case, and I'll tell you why. Let's get into it. So, INTJs and INFJs have repressed extroverted sensing, but this also means that extroverted sensing is part of their daily life. It's part of their dominant process in this very unconscious way because introverted intuition and extroverted sensing are linked. Now, let's take a look at the ESTPs and ESFPs. These two types have dominant extroverted sensing, and they care about appearances very much, but in a very different way and for very different reasons. So, dominant extroverted sensing types tend to want to look good because they very much are attracted to sensations that are pleasurable, sensations that are physically appealing. And this is why ESTPs and ESFPs tend to look good. They tend to be the types that wear a lot of makeup, that tend to be dressed up very well. They're very aware of their appearance because they like to look good. But INTJs and INFJs tend to dress and want to look good for very different reasons. INTJs and INFJs with dominant introverted intuition don't notice the actual sensation being given off by their appearance, but they do know the message that is being given off by their appearance. And these are two very different things because INTJs and INFJs tend to dress and groom themselves because they want to portray a very specific message. They want to give off meaning with what they wear and how they dress. Take, for example, I have a INTP close friend who used to come over to my house like 5 or 6 days out of every week. He practically used to live with me. But they don't have that extroverted sensing in the same way that INJ types do. Whenever we'd go out somewhere, he'd be like, hey, you want to go get some food? I'd be like, sure, let me go get ready. I'd go get dressed, come back. He'd be like, all right, I'm ready. And he'd be wearing dirty sweatpants and a t-shirt. To me, that is abhorrent. That's not even an option. I'm not willing to go out and be seen in such a state because I want my outfit to give off a very specific meaning. I want it to be reflective of me as a person. And this is very important to the INJ personality type because they very much understand that their outfit and their appearance is a reflection of the abstract meaning of the self. And this, I know it kind of sounds weird, but the extroverted dominant extroverted sensing type doesn't tend to see this in the same way. They tend to view their outfit and their appearance as a more close relationship to them with the actual sensation itself. They like to physically look good. This doesn't tend to be perfect though, because extroverted sensing is repressed in the introverted intuitive dominant type. They are less likely to notice how their appearance is being given off all the time, much like an extroverted sensing type. Extroverted sensing dominant types are the types who are going to be checking themselves in the mirror very frequently. They want to constantly make sure that they are giving off the physical aesthetic that they like, that they find pleasurable. But the INTJs and INFJs are likely to not care about this as much when they're in like the privacy of their own home, when they're just at home doing nothing. These aren't going to be the types who are constantly checking their appearance and making sure they look good unless they're in a situation where they need to make sure that their appearance is giving off the message that they want it to. For example, if an INTJ or INFJ was going to be giving a speech in front of a class or something of that nature, they're the ones who are probably going to be slightly obsessive over their appearance for a very short period of time before that presentation because they want to make sure that they're going to give off the very exact meaning that they want to give off. All of this is one of the reasons that INJ types tend to have a deep appreciation for aesthetics, because when they see something that is aesthetically pleasing, they tend to see the meaning and mental imagery behind the aesthetic instead of appreciating the aesthetic for what it is in terms of the sensation itself. So when INJ types were to see someone who was well-dressed or a painting, they usually see the deeper meaning within the painting or the outfit itself. When they see someone who is well-dressed, they understand that that person is well-dressed, and this is what that implies about them. Whereas the extroverted sensing type is more likely to appreciate the aesthetic or sense itself. INTJs and INFJs tend to differ in their appearance because INTJs with secondary extroverted thinking and tertiary introverted feeling are going to care much more about their personal attachment to their dress code, the personal meaning that's being given off, whereas the INFJ is going to care more about the social relationship related to the meaning that they're giving off. The INFJ is going to kind of slightly want to relate to the group when portraying the personal meaning of the self, whereas the INTJ tends to be extremely individualistic in their dress code and can be almost stubborn with their appearance or dress code. They want to dress in the way that they want to dress, and they want to give off a very specific meaning associated with the self. Jung spoke in Psychological Types about how the dominant introverted intuitive type has a very rich internal world that is experienced instead of the sensation itself. And this is what causes the INTJ and INFJ to have that appreciation for aesthetic, because when they experience something that is aesthetically pleasing, they are granted deep and very intriguing mental imagery associated with that sensation. And instead of it kind of experiencing the sensation itself, they would almost experience a story related to the sensation or a meaning behind the sensation instead of experiencing the direct sensation like the dominant extroverted sensing type would. Now, how does this differ from, say, an introverted sensing type like an ISTJ? Well, introverted sensing types are more likely to recognize the kind of regulations and past associated with aesthetics. For example, an ISTJ would want to wear a business suit not because of the message it portrays, but because they recognize that it is a formal way of dressing that has been recognized for a long time as an appropriate way to dress in certain scenarios. They're more likely to dress in accordance with what is accepted within their given interests. And this differs from the introverted intuitive who is trying to portray somewhat of an internal message with their aesthetic. On the other end of that spectrum, though, are the extroverted intuitive types, the NPs. These types are going to be more so frequent in the changing of their appearance because with repressed introverted sensing, they have a strong distaste for keeping things the way they were. They constantly want to be changing. They constantly want to be exploring new ideas and possibilities. I have an ENFP sister, older sister, who changes her hair once every month or so. They don't like to associate with the same thing over and over again, so they constantly kind of want to be changing their identity and their appearance to go along with their shifting perspective with all of the ideas they have associated with the world. All right, that's really all I have for this video, talking about aesthetics associated with the INTJ and INFJ. I've had a few people recently ask me if I do typing sessions because I am a certified MBTI practitioner. I would just like to say that yes, I do typing sessions right now, but I do not do type testing with the official instrument at this very moment. I'm planning to in the future, and I do not do coaching sessions. These are things that I have done before, but I am currently not open to doing. If you are interested in being typed by me, you can check out my link to my website in the description box below. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something new. This has been Asara at Asara Psych. Have a good one.